you be? Well, I'm Geralt of Rivia. I'm on leave from Karamorn, taking a break from my duties. I thought I'd come down into town to see if anyone fancied a round of cards. Gwent, specifically. Do you ever play Gwent? Oh, looks like I'm in luck. How about a quick round? You think you'll beat me? Well, this bag of crowns says otherwise. What do you say? Good. What kind of deck do you have? Monsters. Well, let's just say I've had my fair share of encounters with monsters, both playing Gwent and in the field. But you've never seen a monster. Really? Well, it's pretty surprising, to be honest with you. How about this? Let's make this game a little bit more interesting. When you draw one of your monster cards, if you give me one crown, I'll tell you a little bit about that monster, or maybe a story. Sound good? Well, I have to warn you that there is a 1 crown surcharge to begin with. Come on, pay up. Thank you very much. So, as an added bonus, how about this? I'll let you go first. Why don't you deal and we'll see what we've got. Good. So, why don't you draw your first card? Oh, a toad. Well, this might not look like much, but it's not your average toad. Big, bad, and ugly. Have you ever been to Oxenford? A big frog like this will get down in the sewers within a town and it'll start a little illness going around. It's pestilent, disgusting. Now, you ever heard of the Prince and the Frog? Well, it's not quite like that, and I don't want to spoil any bedtime stories for you, but let's just say that these things are tough and not particularly good looking. They aren't technically supernatural beings, so you do have to use silver, but brute force will usually get the job done. So, how about adding to that pot? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. People think that we witchers are mercenaries, working for the highest bidder. It's not always the case, you know. We have to be very considerate about the kind of contracts that we take. For example, we cannot ingratiate ourselves towards politics or get involved in things to do with religion or anything like that. We are required to remain neutral at all times. Gwent is a little bit different for me, though. More of a passion. I picked it up as a hobby a while back, and I've just been enjoying it ever since. So, I'll get my card. Poor fucking infantry. Well, I don't think much needs to be said about that, right? Why don't you draw your next card? Oh, Gryphon. Now, I know you haven't seen a monster, but you must have heard about Gryphons before, right? No, they can completely ravage a town, ruin crops, and scare a populace half to death. Well, funnily enough, recently, Vesemir and I took upon one in a field near White Orchard, I believe. We'd been tracking it for a while, but we'd also been traveling, so we were very tired. Well, in the end, the beast showed itself. Now, if you want to take down a hybrid like that, really, you need hybrid oil, but the most important thing to remember is a crossbow. No, you don't have a crossbow. Well, that could be problematic for you. When finding aerial creatures or anything that can fly, a crossbow is your best friend. Add a bit of grape shot and you can take one down with relative ease. It's all about timing. Vesemir and I laid a trap, you see. And when the beast finally showed itself, it turned out to be a royal griffin, not just a regular griffin. This just meant that the fight was going to be that much more difficult. But have no fear, we saved White Orchard from that griffin. And though it was a pretty desperate fight at points, the crossbow certainly saved my skin, so I would highly recommend that you purchase one. Perhaps with that crown that you're just about to give to me. Appreciate it. Now, my turn. Well, how about that? Vernon Roach. Oh, no, don't get me wrong. My horse isn't named after Vernon. I call all of my horses Roach. It's just a tradition. I favor mares. I've never really told anyone the reason, and I'm not about to now, I'm afraid. Better luck next time. Anyway, your turn. Draw a card. Oh. Well, how about that? Now, I wouldn't be surprised if you hadn't seen one of these. Not a lot of people have. In fact, some people still think that they're not real. Plague maidens. The first sign of a plague maiden? Rats. An army of them. So, if you're scared of rats, then you're going to be extra scared of the plague maiden. It usually comes around, basically, during wartime, or times of political or religious strife. It's also called a pesta, and is a sort of realization of pestilence in the world, carrying with it disease and all kinds of foul creatures. In reality, the best bet is to simply avoid it, and, as I said, perhaps it is not even real. So, speaking of real, my purse feels light. Thank you. So, my turn. Siri. You must have heard of Siri. Well, we'll leave that story for another time. It's a much, much longer story. All right, friend, your turn. Go ahead. Necrophage. Ghoul. Now, I'm sure you're aware that I've fought my fair share of ghouls and other necrophage. They're carrion creatures feeding on the dead. Typically, during wartime, they hunt in packs. That's because they're drawn to the dead meat. It takes them a while to prepare meat. They actually eviscerate the victim. They don't like living flesh. They like to let it age for a few days, so they'll tear it apart. Flesh from bone, you name it. And they'll leave it there for a while, maybe a week, till it gets ripe. And then they'll dig in. Now, naturally, silver will defeat a necrophage. But the real way to get rid of them is by destroying their nest completely, and fire is the only thing that will get that job done. Speaking of ghouls and other necrophages, I have fought Alghouls many times, and it reminds me of a story about one such encounter with an Alghoul. I was fighting it and it caught me off guard. Typically they're pack animals, but this one was especially large and vicious. Anyway, it cornered me, and turns out that my sidearm had dropped to the floor, which meant I was unarmed. So I grabbed it around the throat and squeezed. And of course, I then remembered that the thing is dead. It doesn't draw breath. So suffocation wasn't an option. I had to decapitate it with my bare hands. A fitting end for a disgusting creature. But yes, silver and necrophage oil. They're your best friends when fighting the undead. Now, thank you very much. Appreciate it. My turn, I believe. Let's take a look. Oh, well, how about that? This is a little embarrassing. It's me. Now, I know it might seem a little, well, self-absorbed to have a card of yourself, but I have to say, I'm a damn good card. Anyway, your turn. Don't let me slow you down. Harpies. Again, you'll want to bring a crossbow with you for this one, but on the whole, harpies are thieves. More than a nuisance, I guess. You'll find them flying around the mountains and making trouble on crossroads. They're usually nearby their nest, so the best thing to do is to lay a trap. That way, you'll get them pretty quickly. Now, of course, the last thing you want to do is get mobbed by them. Because they can fly in larger numbers, they can actually carry you away to your nest. My biggest recommendation, shoot them with a crossbow. Pay up. Thank you. So, my turn. Another infantry. I'm not having much luck today. I should have brought a better deck. Anyway, please, your turn. Go ahead. Oh. Well, you know what? Wolves are not so bad. Yeah, they're pack animals, but they're pretty easy to defeat. More of a nuisance than anything else. But werewolves, well, they're bad. Sure, wolfsbane can mitigate some of the symptoms of lycanthropy, but ultimately, you're looking at killing a human being. Technically a hybrid, but I say lycanthrope because the person can become healed. However, your best bet at fighting one is Igni, or perhaps even Moondust. The werewolf has exceptionally good regenerative properties. That means that you could be fighting one and think you're in the lead halfway through, and all of a sudden it recuperates, and then it becomes even stronger. So, if you have silver, use it. If you get it down, keep it down. Trust me. Thank you. Okay, let's see. What have I got? Elven archer. Not so bad, I suppose. Your turn. Looks like a friendly deer, huh? Try being 5 times the size of that. Vicious as all hell. A fiend is weak to fire. Typically, they will be protecting a region of forest or swamp. If you see one, and you'll notice it pretty quickly, my best advice is to run. However, tactical assault could be to your advantage. Use the environment around it that it protects, and also, do not mistake it for a common doe. Alright. Thank you. Well, my purse is getting a little bit bigger, but remember, it's in the game as well, so if you win, you take it. Let's see here. Oh, just a dummy. Well, decoys are handy too. You never know when you might need them. Well, go right ahead. Your turn. Noonwraith. Now, as their name suggests, Noonwraiths are at the peak of their power when the sun is at its peak. That means that during the night, they don't usually come out because they're so weak. because they're non-corporeal, they can traverse the spirit realm and the living realm. This makes them especially difficult to defeat. I would treat it mostly like any other specter, but be warned, if you see one when you're out and about, they'll try to lure you to where they are, and probably end you in a particularly horrible way. Anyway, thank you. Wow, another infantry. I really didn't bring my A game today. Well, let's see what you've got. Go ahead. Interesting. An Ekimara. It's a type of vampire, a lower vampire. But just like werewolves, you have to remember that these creatures can pass as humans. Sure, someone you know well might be an Ekimara, and they move quick. They can also turn invisible, and they essentially look like giant bats in their actual form. What I would say is that, like werewolves, silver works a treat, and really also a well-placed devil's puffball will really see to them. Thank you. Let's see what I've got. More infantry. It's like I'm trying to let you win. Okay, your go. Go ahead. Oh. Well now, here's an annoying creature. A foglet. When you see rapidly growing fog, it's indicative of a foglet being nearby. Now, these little pests have a number of skills that can be used to their advantage and used to get the edge on you in combat. For example, they can turn invisible, which is particularly annoying. Furthermore, they can project themselves, so it looks like there are multiple foglets at one time. I must admit, bombs and signs are the best way to get rid of them, but really, they are a nuisance, so avoid them at all costs. I remember one night I was riding Roach through a forest, and the fog was getting heavy. Naturally, I assumed foglets, so I got down off Roach and started to have a look around. I wasn't on contract, but these guys particularly annoy me, so I wanted to see if I could get rid of them. Anyway, I had a look around, and it turned out it was 3 kids just billowing some smoke into the road, trying to make people think there were foglets there. Well, I almost cut them down too, but fortunately, there wasn't a contract on them either. Thank you. Weighs pretty good. Okay, let's see how I'm doing. Well, Dandelion, old friend. It's the only reason I keep the card close to me. Alright, let's see what you got. Oh. Well, here we go. Eridan, king of the Wild Hunt. You know, the elves call him Sparrowhawk. The Wild Hunt. Well, it's a cavalcade of wraiths. They fly through the night sky on their horses, hunting. You know, they also have a ship. Yeah, that guy has a ship. The Naglfar. It's created by demons. There's a rumor that they cut the toenails and fingernails off the dead, added to the ship to make it more durable. In fact, this rumor is so pervasive that Skellige inhabitants actually remove the toenails and fingernails of their dead so that the demon can't add it to its ship. Yeah, well, Eridan rides this ship, and he's been after me for some time, but again, I think that's a story for another time. I'll let you have that one for free. I'm not completely unreasonable, you know. Okay, let's see. Vesemir. That old man. Alright, draw your card. Rot Fiend. Of course, another necrophage. Well, the oil will help there. One thing to remember, though, is Rot Fiends tend to hunt in packs, a lot like most necrophages. However, they have an unusual defense mechanism. When under mortal threat, they tend to explode. This can be very dangerous, not only for you, but anyone who you're traveling with as well. I remember one particular evening I was camping near Roach, just off the road, and I heard these bangs in the background, and I wondered what the heck it was, so I got up pretty quick, made my way down, saw the telltale signs of rot fiends. Now, it was evidently a nest, but it turns out that some elves were just firing arrows at them for sport, making them explode and seeing how many they could kill in one hit. Well, naturally, I joined in the fun, and saw what I could do too. I won't tell you who won, but it was a lot of fun. Thank you. Okay, let's see who I've got. Triss. Well, why not play another card? Drowners. Again, another necrophage, but I can't blame you for playing them. They're good, in terms of Gwent. Anyway, I'm sure you've heard of drowners. The clue is in their name. They, again, are pack animals, and tend to scurry under sand or loose soil to jump up and surprise people walking past seafronts and lakes. They also hide under piers, which means that they can get unsuspecting fishermen and drag them under. Yeah, well, necrophage oil will be your best bet, but to be honest with you, they are more of a nuisance than anything else, so I think just avoiding them altogether is probably the best thing to do. Anyway, my purse is feeling a little light. Why don't you, divvy up your coin? Thank you. Alright, I feel like it's my turn to... that scent. Unmistakable. Lilac and gooseberries. Yen.